Hey everybody, good morning. It's Anna J. Wallner with the Author Library, and I have with me this morning Emmy R. Bennett. She is the author of the Storm Bloodline Saga. Emmy, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello everybody. I'm Emmy R. Bennett, and yes, like she said, I am the author of Eyes of Winter and Different Shade of Winter, Winter Rain, and soon to come out, Winter's Fury.
I love the display that you have behind you guys. Is that not beautiful?
I'm actually going to be giving away a lot of prizes from April 2nd to June 2nd. I'm going to be giving away once a week something, but you have to sign up on the email list so that I know who wants to participate. So I'm pretty excited about getting that rolling.
I will have to do that. And everybody, Emmy's, all of her links will be in the description below, so you can go to her website and check that out. And register to win. But the Storm Bloodline Saga follows Wynter as the main character, and the first book actually starts in present day, but it takes us someplace completely different.
Yes, and it's all in present day. It's just the present day starts in an urban area, in a town that is 20 minutes from the Canadian border called Lane, Washington. And she's just a normal average teenager that boys don't like her, and she's, a little klutzy, and she finds out that she is not who she thinks she is. And so the first book is to discover who she is. And she is captured by her matriarch grandmother, who has some ulterior motives for her, and she's then pressed to time to escape before that comes to pass. And so that's the first book. And then the second book, she discovers that not only is she not who she thinks she is, but she has powers, and she needs to learn to develop them. And that is kind of that book was crazy to write, because I'm a plantster, I think is what you call it, where you plot and you pants.
Planter, yes.
So a plantster, and so doing complete hamster work is not something I can do. I mean, I actually have to have something I need to know where I'm going. At least I need where I'm going, and then I can just write the story and let it just play out the way it wants to play out. And I do let the characters drive the bus and everything, but I had no idea what the ending was going to be on this one. And so it was interesting to find that one out. And then of course Winter Rain follows that, where she discovers that she is, well, I don't want to spoil it, but she doesn't want, I'm gonna leave it at that. Because there's a lot of answers that were in book 1 and 2 that are in book 3, and if I reveal what's in book 3, I might give out some spoilers.
Right. Well, no, I'm a planter as well. I kind of have to have a starting point and a midpoint and an end point, kind of that skeleton that you need, and then I kind of go back in and fill out the rest. So I'm completely with you on that. But so the second book is Different Shade of Winter, and it follows with the third book, Winter Rain, which actually follows Wynter into her adulthood. She turns 18. Do you consider this a young adult series or a new adult series?
Maybe a little bit of both. I mean, it's still a young adult series. It's still clean. I don't have swear words or anything like that in there.
Gotcha.
And so it's still good for the teens to read. I guess adults like it too.
Adults love YA.
Yes, I love reading YA.
I was gonna say, I'm one of them.
I love it. So I don't know that it is an MA, so to speak, because
right.
she's still discovering herself in the books. I think that it'll graduate to maybe NA by the 5th book, because then she's really kind of taken on that role. But I think the first 4 books are pretty much, you know, she's still a teenager, and she's still grasping at the fact that she's got to grow up.
During the course of the series thus far, Wynter goes from being just a regular student in our world to being thrown into an alternate dimension where she discovers she's a pretty important person. What was it like to write her character and watch her grow up, watch her grow into a woman, a strong young woman?
Well, that's a hard question to answer, because I was surprised just as much as everybody else when I was writing the book. It's amazing how you can have a character arc go from being, you know, this, you know, mediocre person, nobody, into somebody who needs to deal with the fact that they've got responsibility and they're important to somebody, and their actions and their words and everything about them matters to the rest of the community. In book 4, she's kind of having to grasp onto that, and that's kind of where she's come to the realization that, okay, I need to step up to the plate now and make this happen. Hence the title Wynter's Fury. And so she's, you know, so I don't want to reveal the surprises, but I'm really excited for Wynter's Fury. It's taken me a long time to get this one up.
But we do see her kind of to grow up and really come into her own in the 4th book in the series, which will be out this spring, guys. So make sure to
June 2nd, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen. I have to wait on my editor. Of course, my editor is the one that holds the cards. So as soon as she gets that finished and sent back to me, the sooner she gets that back to me, the sooner I'll be able to find out the final time. I mean, I am looking at June 2nd, but I can't be sure if that's going to be it. It may, you know, but it will be this spring. I promise. It will be before spring is over. So before June, what, 21st or 22nd?
Got you. Well, will this be the last of Wynter? Do you expect the series? You do, because you said in the 5th book. So
5, and I already have the title, and I will tell everybody the title's going to be Winter Eclipse for book 5.
Winter Eclipse. Oh, I love that. I love that. That fits so well, and I love the name Wynter because there's so many different things that you can do with it, and it's a beautiful name too. Where did you get the inspiration? I have to know, where did you get the inspiration? Is that the name of someone that you know, or?
No, it just came to me. I've always known her name since the beginning of her book. I love the season of winter. Believe it or not, I like it more than fall, spring, or summer. And I just thought, well, how about put a Y instead of an I, so that you can differentiate between the season winter and the person Wynter. And so that's kind of where I came up with Wynter. And then storm just kind of fits. So winter storm, you know. So I thought that was kind of cool. So that's kind of how I came up with Winter Storm, was because, you know, the storms brew, and things can get very cold and dicey when you're in a storm, and that is what the storm family is all about. So it's it just kind of worked. So that's kind of the
awesome. And I do want to, because I just think that it's such an inspiration. It took you a while to get here to write the first book. It actually took 15 years for you to, and a really special nudge from someone close to you to make this book happen.
Yes, I've been writing since I was 6 years old. I have dyslexia. I also have ADHD. So I have dealt with learning disabilities all my life. I've had problems with reading, my B's and D's, my S's and K's. I still to this day cannot spell San Francisco without doing the acronym NCIS, which my husband helped me with to spell it. from the season NCIS, and now I can spell San Francisco, but I have to think about it. So, I mean, I've always had these problems with reading and writing, and people have told me close to me that, you know, you can't be a writer, you can't be an author because you have problems in this area. And so you should probably think about something else to pursue. And so I did. I listened to that and I pursued other things. Well, my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, both my maternal and paternal, encouraged me. And my maternal grandmother, who was very close to, would listen to me over the phone about poems that I would write and ideas about writing. And she died in 1998. And when she died, the muse left. The muse was gone. I didn't want to write anymore. It was like, I didn't, because she was the one that was encouraging me all the time to get writing, and she was the one that helped me publish my first poem. And so when she was gone, I just felt like everything else left. And so it took a very long time for me to overcome that. And then in 2003, my 13-year-old daughter at the time loves Lucy Andrews. And so she read the books, but there wasn't anything else out there that she was interested in. And so I thought, okay, well, I'll write a book like Lucy Andrews and make it dark and gothic, and maybe she'll get into reading again. And so that was the inspiration to starting Wynter Storm. And originally the title was going to be Wynter Storm, and I changed it to Eyes of Wynter later. And it was 19 pages, and I just couldn't overcome my grandmother being gone. And so after the years, I raised babies, and I got back into it. I met my husband, and he said, when are you going to write that book that you've been saying you're going to write? And my kids would say the same thing. And I said, I don't know, I'll get around to it someday. And ironically, this is really the irony of the whole thing is I've never been a Twilight fan. I've never been a vampire fan. I've never done anything like that at all. And I was bored one day. I had, gotten the cleaning done. The kids were in school. I was like, I don't want to take a nap. So I decided to turn on Netflix, and they had Twilight on Netflix. And I'm like, okay, what is the big deal about Twilight? I mean, it's a teenage girl and a vampire. Come on. I thought, okay, it's free. I'll watch it, see what the big deal is. And boom, I was hooked. And I had to buy all the books. And I bought all the books, and I read everything that she read. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I'm reading this, and I'm like, if she can do this, I can do this too. And that was the moment that I said, okay, I'm doing this. And I wrote that day, I started back up on my page 19 of my book, and it took me 60 days to write Eyes of Wynter.
There you go. I mean, whenever that inspiration does come to you, it's amazing how quickly you can get something down on paper. That's why, it's not necessarily writer's block. I don't say that it's writer's block, but there is something inside where I can be paused creatively. And then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, the play button gets pressed, and I've written an entire 70,000 words in 3 weeks. And people are like, how did you write that much? And I'm like, I don't question it.
It flows. It's like,
but you
literally, it's Kermit the Frog in that typewriter on that GIS. When you think about it, you're like, you just can't stop.
But you can't push it. And that's what I did have to learn. One of the lessons that I've learned the hard way, that the more you push trying to get those words down on paper, sometimes they don't come out the way you want, because writing really does come from the heart. And if you're enjoying the story that you're writing, chances are people that read it will enjoy it.
Definitely.
So just from you telling me that alone, now I want to go and pick up the first book and get invested in the series. because I know exactly what you're talking about, and for you to have that kind of passion that's poured onto the page, it's going to come through in the story, and I can already tell that it's going to be a wild ride just in the first.
Definitely a wild ride. I didn't see it coming. It's completely different from when I outlined it. I mean, outlines are just outlines. All they are ideas, but the story tells itself.
A great one. Yes, it does. It does tend to do that. And a lot of times characters that you didn't think were going to be important end up being a lot more important to the story than you thought they would be.
Yeah, Blair. So there's a character in there. Her name is Blair. I was done with the book. I was ready for editing. I was just doing a once over read aloud to get it through to the editor. And all of a sudden, Blair comes into the picture and says, "You're putting me in the book." And I went, I don't have time for this. Excuse me, with her hand on the hip, "You're putting me in the book." And so that's
amazing.
The character Blair has come into the picture. And she's turned out to be one of the major roles in the book because of it.
It's amazing. And I can tell just by the fact that there's going to be a fifth book. You are one of those authors, and I'm the same exact way. We fall in love with our characters and we don't want to let them go.
No,
I mean, really.
I'm sad that there's a fifth book. I mean, I've got some readers are saying, "No, you got to keep going," and I'm like, "Well, you never know how this story is going to plan out." But
and that's
this particular series is coming to an end very soon. So, I mean, I wanted it to be in the fourth book, and I think that's the reason why I struggled so much. I was putting so much into it, and I was writing Act 1, and then I wrote Act 2, and I wrote the last line of Act 2, and I was like, "Oh, that's supposed to be the ending." And I'm like, I can't do that and do this. And so I realized that the Act 2 that I was currently writing for the book ends up being the Act 3 of book 4, and book 5 has to move on to another part of the story. So it was
sometimes it does work out that way where, and I've experienced it myself, and I think a lot of other authors have. So we understand. We understand. We get it. But what advice, before we close, air conditioner just kicked on. What advice would you give, say someone has a dream or a thought, or they're struggling with finishing their first novel? What advice would you give them what advice can you pass along that really did it for you?
I think it's just keep writing, never give up, keep going, keep pushing. You know, it may not happen when you want it to happen, but it'll happen as long as you keep pursuing and keep pushing. Keep writing, just get it on the page and write, and then go, because you can always go back and edit it. You can always go back and change. Get it down on paper.
Yes, if you don't have that first draft, then there's nothing to fix.
Exactly.
So if I think that's amazing advice, and it still holds true for a lot of authors who are on to the next series or on to the next book, and they're just like stuck for a little bit, but it just keep the dream alive.
Somebody told me, and I don't know who it was, but it really resonated with me, and it was whether it's one word or thousands of words. If it's one word in addition to what you've already got, then it's an improvement. And it doesn't matter how many words there are. You're improving, you keep moving, you keep pushing forward. Even if you don't even write words that day and you maybe work on research, or if you're doing something where you're trying to map out the world, or if it pertains to your book, or maybe it's social media. So many people think social media is a hindrance for them to keep writing, but a lot of people, don't think that that's part of your writing. That is also part of your improving on your book, because you're letting yourself out there. You're telling people that hey, I'm a writer. I've got this book coming. So that, even if you're not writing words, that's still an improvement.
Very true. Well, thank you so much for being on the show this morning. I really appreciate it. And I loved getting to hear all about the first book. And guys, remember that the next book in the series, Winter's Fury, will be available this spring. It's coming out this spring. And that there's a giveaway that starts in just a couple of weeks, next week.
Yeah. I'll be giving, like I said, I will be giving away a prize every single week, starting April 2nd through June 2nd. But you must sign up for the mailing list because I'm doing the giveaways through the emails.
Gotcha. All right, guys. So make sure to check out all of the links that I have in the description below. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss out on new and upcoming content. Thank you again so much, Emmy. I really appreciate your time. And guys, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks. Bye.